Hi, and welcome to Ask the Expert. Today's expert is Denise Hart. Hello, Denise. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing fantastic.
Good. We have a great question for you from our viewers, and it reads, I started my homemade jewelry business back in March, and I have a decent client base made up of my friends and some people that have reached out through the internet. But I love to make jewelry and I want the business to grow faster. I run as many free ads as possible, and I have a free drawing every month where I give away jewelry. How can I market my business better?
Wow, this is a really great question, and it's a frequent question, Tawana. And there are a couple of components in this question, so I kind of broke up my answer. One of the first things that I want to address, even though she said, "How can I market my business better?" I want to address the part of her question where she says she wants it to grow faster. And so I want to bring up the point that a business increasing fast can create breakdown. So one of my first questions is what kind of systems does this entrepreneur have in place that will prevent the kinds of breakdown that occur when a business grows faster than you expected? So that's something I just want to point out to her. I think a lot of entrepreneurs feel like they want things to accelerate very quickly. I mean, that's a good feeling. You feel successful. Yet that can undermine you. And that's everyone from a small entrepreneur to a big business. In fact, I was just watching the CEO of Starbucks with Oprah the other day, and he pointed out that their fast growth caused them to lose touch with their values, which is an internal breakdown. So I just wanted to make that clarification. Now to marketing. So she pointed out that she'd started a really good base with friends and family and sort of touching the internet. So I put forth a couple of questions and I've written them down so that I can be very specific and clear. One of the questions that I had is what's happening in her online space? She didn't provide a link, which would have been awesome because I would have loved to have gone and really poured over her site or her online presence because that's just not her website. What's her entire platform look like? Twitter, LinkedIn, although LinkedIn might not be the best space for someone with jewelry, but certainly Twitter, certainly Facebook, of course. But at any rate, what does your online presence look like? What are you doing? Are you creating an environment on your web presence that is welcoming, that invites people into what I call your remarkable factor? Here's what I mean by remarkable. How are you not regurgitating the ordinary? There are hundreds of people who create handmade jewelry. And what I find is that many entrepreneurs sort of fall into the ordinary lump or what's the mediocre. That means I'm doing the same thing as everyone else. What can you do that distinguishes what you create, which is your commodity? Your commodity is jewelry. Your product needs to be something entirely different. Your product is the feeling that people get when they experience your product. So for my business, frequently people say, wow, I feel that unlimited possibility is my birthright. That's good because that's the product that I am involved with. I do coaching. That's my commodity. So for you, handmade jewelry, that's your commodity. What's your product? I wrote down a couple of things. So, for example, is your quality or the experience, is it exquisiteness? Is it unique eclecticism? What is that conversation that you're creating so that within your potential customer, they feel an internal relationship? There's an internal driver. Also, look at this. What are some natural seasons or some natural life events where people want to purchase jewelry? Is there something you can tap into, or is there a buzz you can create where you say you feel jewelry should be purchased around this time? You create the momentum for that, the driver for that, but that means you have to create a campaign that communicates that to your potential customers so they get excited. They are like, oh, absolutely. I need to be purchasing jewelry. I'm just going to say for Valentine's, just because that's a typical time where women might gift themselves or their mates might gift them. But you can create a campaign where you create buzz, you create energy, right? Are you on Etsy, right? Etsy is one of the top spaces where handmade whatever, jewelry, shawls, hats, anything. are being sold. Is your Etsy presence tight? Is it professional? Is it, again, distinguishing you from your counterparts? I didn't say competitors because I don't believe in competition. You have counterparts in the marketplace. What are you doing that says, hey, my counterpart, yeah, she sells fabulous handmade jewelry too, but here's how mine is unique and remarkable for me and my brand. And are you mentioned about giving away a piece of jewelry. So what other kinds of incentives can you create? For example, could you do jewelry parties where you created a revenue share model with your friends and family who you've already tapped into? But also don't just regurgitate the models that we see out there. Can you do something that will be really specific to you, that's really specific to the community? Also, your target market. I think a lot of times, I used to make jewelry years ago. I mean, probably 25 years ago. I've been a serial entrepreneur my whole life, from when I was a kid. I started out making quilts, believe it or not, with my grandmother. So anyway, my point is, your target market, even though it's women, how can you actually specify and really make that niche even more specific? Is it women who like, I'll go back to some of the product qualities I mentioned. Is it women who like really exquisite, luxurious jewelry? Is it women who like unique, eclectic jewelry that gives them a feel of, I'm different from my girlfriend, right? Or it looks different when I wear it, even though we're wearing the same piece. Really find out, do a survey. Find out what your present customers, because we all know a current customer is easier to sell to than a new customer. Although you want new customers, you also want your current customers to become your viral fans. You want them to sell your product for you. You want them to talk about and describe it. So how can you actually even further fine tune that target market? What's your core message? How could I forget this? Um, Everybody who is out in the selling space, you're doing what you're doing for a particular reason. And I would challenge you to determine, why are you really crafting this jewelry? What does it mean to you in your own soul? Why must you do it? And once you identify that, once you create what I call your core intention statement, once you identify that, you're going to find that you're going to get so much more clear about who needs to be in your pool. Who do you want to reach and why? Was it that when you were a kid or you were younger, you just saw shabby jewelry and you thought it could always be more unique and more spectacular? Or were you not financially well off and you couldn't afford really nice jewelry, and so you were driven to sort of take things and say, you know what, I can make something magical out of what other people might think should be sort of tossed aside? What is your core message? What's that thing that's driving you every day, no matter what, to create something beautiful, something memorable, something magnetic, so that other people say, I have to have her jewelry, right? These are some really essential tips and strategies that I want you to examine. I want you to take them on and say, you know what, I do want to tap into what is my remarkable factor. And trust me, once you attend to these particular tips and strategies, you're going to be well on your way to selling more jewelry and creating those systems so you don't experience the breakdown that growth can create.